The Experience of Black Students in the Arts at USF by Angela Howell. USF is a school that prides itself on its diversity, welcoming students from all over the world and all different walks of life. It is also a school that provides various ways for students to lean into creative expression and explore the arts in many different ways. But with Black students only making up around 6% of the actual student population, what is it like for the even smaller percentage of Black students engaging in the arts at USF? What better way to find out than asking these students themselves? Two students involved in various artistic organizations and activities took the time to sit down and answer a few questions about their experience.
My name is Lamaya Cotton. I'm 20 years old. I am a communication studies major. It's my second year in the program. I'm mostly just on the hip hop team. It's called Varsity. So I spend a lot of my time choreographing and dancing with them. And then I am also on the University of San Francisco Spirit Squad. Before I came to USF, I was already into dance, so it was more or less how can I continue that? It was a lot of just looking on Instagram, Twitter, easy ways that I could just Google it and kind of just seeing posts, social media posts from other people who have already been on the team, kind of just scouting out just a little bit before I got here. So yeah, that's how I found out about it. I feel I take a lot of what I've known dance-wise and dance history from the Black community, and I try my best to incorporate moves in hip-hop and just a little bit for Spirit Squad just because we're more technical and jazz-like, but I really try my best to bring more awareness to Black dance or hip-hop or just things that people haven't necessarily done before or seen before, just so we can be a little bit more culturally diverse. To me, a Black artist basically means to just be yourself, but also creating with intent. So not just making art that you think is good or that you think that other people will like, but something that truly feels unique to you and personable to you that you're also able to share with a larger audience. I feel that's where I rely in being an artist in the dance art space. I feel at USF, they've really given me the opportunity to try a multitude of different things. I feel especially in varsity, because we are more club focused, they've given us a lot of opportunities to have lots of different performances, do outside performances, just kind of dipping our toes into a lot of different things. And I feel I just wouldn't have gotten that opportunity in high school versus now that I'm in college. So USF has really opened up those doors for me in order to be able to share what I like to do, especially being able to perform at Spirit Squad at all the basketball games, and then being proud of the choreography that I uniquely get to make and share with my teammates, and then sharing that dance on the huge court, that's an experience that's like no other. So USF has really given me that opportunity to be myself, but also sharing what I like to do with a lot of different people. I feel generally being a dancer and a Black dancer, when people first typically think about dance, I feel they tend to think about ballerinas, and they don't tend to think about all the different art forms that hip-hop and jazz and all these other things can bring to the table. When it comes down to hip-hop, I feel people tend to generalize it. They're most notably going to think about Black people, so really kind of trying to get rid of that stereotype that hip-hop is only for Black people. Yeah, that's where it originated from, but I feel it's also important to recognize that not only myself, but also people from other different walks of life are all here to dance, and it's because that's what they genuinely love to do. When it came to me dancing, I think just generally, it's always been really hard, just because I feel people just always see me as if she's Black then she does hip hop, not oh she's Black, she can just dance, period. because I do dip my toes in other things, which is why I kind of have like that Spirit Squad, like jazzy side of everything, and then I have that hip hop side of me. So people, I feel like they tend to associate me more with hip hop instead of my Spirit Squad side. So I feel like really trying to get rid of like those like tensions and like that separation between the two would be really nice. But I've just heard from around, I don't know if it's true, but before I said that I was going to audition, people would just tell me that there's never been like a history of black girls being on the team or just black people in general making the team. So that was a little nerve-wracking just because I didn't want to put myself out there in a position where I knew at the end of the day I would have gotten hurt. I basically overcame that, and I just was like, you know what, like I'm not gonna listen to what people say. Like I know personally I'm a great dancer, and I know that other people have also told me that I was a great dancer. So it was really mostly just students that they kind of used that as a way to basically say that, like, you know, because of who you are, you might not get there. But I ended up making the team. So I don't know, it was a little scary, it was a little nerve-wracking just because I knew that obviously, like, if I am one of the first girls that identifies as black to make the team, that's going to be something that stands out. Just kind of removing that little voice inside of my head really allowed me to like push my artistry further and just continue to do what I love, which is dancing. So. Because hip hop has originated from black culture, we are very celebrated in that aspect, like especially all of like the black dancers in that space. Like we don't go to a like, well, USF is not a predominantly black school, like we know that. It's not an HBCU, it's not any of those things, but in those spaces where we are allowed to kind of regain what we started, we are given like a lot of opportunities to try our best and get front spots, the ones that like we truly think that we deserve. But for Spirit Squad, like again, like when we are doing hip hop, I am currently the only black person on the team, so usually for hip hop I usually do get really great spots. I think it's just like a respect type of thing, just because it's like, you know, like that's where I come from, that's my background. I'm very appreciative that these spaces allow for us black students to kind of have that opportunity to kind of stand out from everybody else. So yeah. Some things that I think could improve, I think there just needs to be more opportunities, not just for myself like in like the dance space, but for all the black artists that attend this university. I feel like there's just not enough like outreach, and if there is outreach, then that means I'm just not hearing anything, just because the black community here at USF, like it is small, but it is growing immensely. So I feel like just for that opportunity to hear what people are doing, or having like a little event where there could be like little performances for black students that anybody could go to, but if it's solely for like black students, then I think that would be really cool. But I feel like USF has truly done a great job of having like enough clubs and like having enough opportunities where everybody can feel like they have fit, like, yeah, they just have like enough opportunities where everybody has like sort of like a place to go. And clearly I found my place here, and I'm very grateful for that. But I do think that there could be just like a little bit more outreach in terms of letting there be known that there are artists and there are black specific artists that can share what they do here at USF, and I think that would be really cool. I'm very hopeful for the way that things are going at USF. Comparing like my first year to my second year, there's just been way more black students on campus, so that already shows that USF is truly putting in work to create something special here. I think especially for the black community, like we already have like our own room in the library. Like you can literally just walk up there and like you already have a community. Like the second that you get on this campus, like it's already there for you. Just knowing that like there are spaces for black students here on campus, like it just makes me hopeful to see like what'll happen within my next 2 years, and then up until I graduate, and then even moving forward, and then looking back and seeing what the new students are doing here. It does make me really hopeful, and I am really excited to see where USF takes itself, especially in the admissions with black students. If I could have any superpower, I think I would. I think I want to teleport, just because I feel like I'm just always late, and yeah, I'm just always late. Like I just need to fix my life. I don't know why I'm always late. I try to tell myself that like I'll be on time, and then even if I say it, that doesn't mean I'm actually gonna do it. But if I could just teleport to like anywhere in like an instant, like that would be great. Cause traffic, I don't know, but I would want to teleport. I think that'd be cool.
My name is Jordan Premer. I'm a second year communications major with minors in journalism and theater. I do spoken word poetry and theater acting, so both of those things I have gotten the opportunity to do on campus, which is wonderful. Acting is the most recent thing that I've done. Like on campus last semester, I was able to be in a production called In the Blood, which was put on by the Performing Arts and Social Justice program. And at that time, I was not a theater minor. I just saw that there was an audition, and Stephanie Hunt, who is the professor for like acting 101 or like acting foundations, I took that class for my core. She emailed me and told me that I should consider it. So I went and I auditioned, and I ended up getting the lead role, and it was a very complex story and a very complex role to play. My character was a Black woman who unfortunately happened to be unhoused, and she was constantly being mistreated by all of the people around her. She had 5 children, all of them by different fathers, and it was a very sad story, and it ended in tragedy. And it was great to portray that role because, you know, the single mother trope that we hear about Black women, for many Black women that is true, including for my Black mother, that was true. And I was able to connect with that character on a different level, knowing like this is the story of my mother, this is the story of her mother, and this is the story of mothers like all around. I occasionally perform at lyricist lounges, which we have here at USF on the UC 4th floor once a month. And I believe last year I did a like a Black talent show, and I did a spoken word poem there. I think definitely my Black identity influences more of my poetry than it does what I'm acting. Just in like those specific roles where the character is canonically Black and has Black experiences, but like if I'm like some random fairy tale character, I don't think about it as much, even though obviously it makes me feel good when I'm acting as a Black actress. But with my poetry, I feel like a lot of my poems do come from this sense of being a Black person. I can express my wants for Black Americans. I can express my experiences as a Black non-binary person. I can kind of connect with the fact that even though I'm non-binary, I will always be perceived as a Black woman everywhere that I go. It's very unique. I remember after George Floyd passed away in 2020, after he was murdered, I was very heartbroken to see like what our country was coming to. And after that, like I just could not stop writing constantly. It was poem after poem after poem, just about how heartbroken I was, how angry I was, how afraid I was. And I feel like art is just the best way to express that sometimes, and it's saying empowering things to other Black people through my writing and watching their eyes light up when I tell them that they're special with my words. it's a feeling like no other because I really want them to hear that in that moment. Well, I started doing both poetry and theater in high school. When I came to USF, I was super excited to see that there was a space for students to perform spoken word poetry, and I was like jumping and itching at the opportunity to do so. With acting, I feel like I was just bored. Like sometimes I really just be doing stuff, and I remember like the day that I auditioned to be in the Blood, I had just gotten Professor Hunt's email that same day, and then like I was like, am I gonna go audition for this role? And then I was like, no, I'm not. But then like an hour or like 2 hours before, I was like, I might as well just go. It's the best decision I ever made, truly. After doing that show and working with some of the most amazing cast members I've ever worked with, and just like pouring my heart into that role, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I should definitely add a theater minor. Are you kidding? And I feel like there were times, you know, within In the Blood where like corrections on like what is culturally appropriate and what is not had to be made to non-Black directors, but that was less of like a stereotype issue and more of like a they're not Black, so they don't understand. But other than that, I have not experienced any like stereotypes. If anything, I've gotten so much love from the community here at USF, especially the spoken word community. I feel like every single time that I've taken a poem to Lyricist Lounge, I've felt so loved. I felt like everyone there really, even if they couldn't exactly understand the poem or they didn't understand where I was coming from, you know, they were still just like showering me with love. Every single time that I've ever performed a spoken word poem for a Black audience, that like, especially about Black people, I've been filled with love because the community is always like, oh, I love that poem, that was amazing, can you send me that, that was great, or like the little like shouts and hoots of agreement that they say like during the poem. Like sometimes it throws me off and I'm like reading it and I'm like, oh, they like it, and then I like stutter a little bit, but like it's a happy stutter. I do work at the Foghorn, which is our school newspaper, so whoever's watching this, if you haven't read the Foghorn, you should. But I'm an editor for the arts and culture section, so I get to put a lot of stories about the Black diaspora inside of my section. And even though that's not directly like art, because it is journalism, I feel like writing these things is a form of art, and it makes me very happy when I can write about the plights of my community and really center their voices in such like a popular publication, because like that is going to be going down in USF's archives. Like this is it becomes history, so I'm documenting Black history on campus as much as possible. During In the Blood, I met some of the most fun people I have ever met in my life, and it was great. And getting to know them and getting a chance to create something for people to enjoy together, that's the type of experience you're not really going to get anywhere else. As for poetry, the space that is created when spoken word poets are performing is really just, it's beautiful. There's people who are, you know, crying and like hyping people up. There's people who have never performed before in their lives, and like this is their first time, and really showing them how much we love the poem and like letting them know like that was amazing, and like letting them know that they don't have to fit into like a specific type of writing or a specific type of delivery or whatever, and just like having such a free, happy space. Like it feels great. I feel like whenever I go there, it's like temporarily like my crazy hectic life is like not happening anymore, and it's like I'm just here with my community of people. So yeah. Well, first of all, USF needs a performance stage. We need a stage. Currently, we don't have one. We only have the black box on Lomo, and I feel like that's just unacceptable because performers can't perform without a stage. And like, I know that this affects other cultural orgs tremendously. Like, Kasamahan had to go to SFSU in order to have their Philippine cultural night because they couldn't perform on a stage at USF. And that meant that they had to take polls and they had to take so many things, attire, etc., all there just to perform their cultural heritage. And I feel like that is unacceptable. As a performer, it's like very disheartening, and it feels like we're just not, like, the university doesn't care. There's a lot of, I know, like, we would never not have a place for the basketball team to play. We would never not have a field for the soccer team to play or the baseball team. So the fact that they could be complacent with the performers on their campus not having a stage, knowing that other universities offer beautiful stages, it's just ridiculous. USF like also has no black faculty damn near. Like, I think I've had two black professors in the entire time that I've been here, and it's really sad because I would love to learn from black people. And if there's no black faculty, that means that there's not really any black directors. For performing arts and social justice, a lot of these things have to do with black issues. But if there's no black people to direct the conversation about these black issues or to direct the performances, is it really true to what's happening? Can we say that is accurate? I don't think that we can. And I'm sure that many other minority groups feel this way because there are very little minority professors at this school, and that's just a fact. Like, I feel like if I had to count how many person of color professors I've had, I would be able to count it on my hands, and that is unfortunate. And it wouldn't even be a whole hand. The production that I was a part of last semester in the Blood, that was actually the first production done at USF by a black playwright, and I believe also the first black female lead done by Pastre. And that is crazy because the Performing Arts and Social Justice program is not a new program, and I would love to see more trailblazer situations like that for every minority community that we have here at USF. There's so many beautiful stories within every single culture. I feel like there's so much room for diversity, and when we step outside of the box from the basic white theater productions that we see everywhere, it makes things a lot more special. And I really hope that other performers get the opportunity to be a part of something like that, because it doesn't only change the way that the audience is perceiving it, but for me, being a part of a production like that, I feel like it even changed my own outlook on life, and it taught me a lot. And I feel like every performer deserves to be able to learn like that. Oh my god, if I could have any superpower, I definitely would have the power of teleportation. If I ever wanted to go to the beach, imagine, boom, I'm there. Oh, I want to go to Jamaica, boom, I'm there. Oh, actually, I'm really craving a taco from my favorite place in San Diego. Oh, I'm there.
So what did we learn? We learned that USF is doing a good job of fostering a welcoming and accepting arts community for Black students spanning multiple disciplines. People are willing to learn, grow, and uplift Black voices, creations, and ideas. It has provided Black students with enriching, impactful, and meaningful experiences and lasting connections. But there are many ways that USF can still improve for Black students, and specifically those in the arts. Those being hiring more Black faculty, improving outreach for Black students and the ways that they can engage in the arts, increasing the opportunities for Black art and Black stories to be seen and heard, and also providing adequate facilities and resources for the arts and granting it the importance and priority it deserves. Looking toward the future, Black students want to be in a place where they can feel seen and heard, where there is a diversity of voices and stories, and also safe spaces where they can feel free to be themselves and to create.